How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Bubba Ho-Tep from 2002, directed by Don Coscarelli, who you may know from Phantasm or John Dies at the End or Beastmaster. A great classic horror director. This also stars Bruce Campbell and Ossie Davis, and is based on a story by horror writer Joe R. Lansdale. In this movie, Bruce Campbell plays Elvis, a really old and near-death Elvis, in a nursing home. You see, in this movie, Elvis got really sick of all the fame and that lifestyle, so he changes places with an Elvis impersonator. He gets to live the impersonator's quieter and simpler life, and the impersonator gets to be Elvis, that he always wanted to be Elvis. Now, unfortunately for the real Elvis, his trailer that he's living in explodes due to a tragic barbecuing accident, and that burns up any paper documentation that he may have had. And the fake Elvis, posing as the real Elvis, dies. So everyone in the world thinks Elvis is dead, but he's secretly dying in this nursing home. And people think because in his last show he had an accident and fell off the stage and was in a coma for a bit, people think that's just when he went nutty. He fell down and now he believes he's Elvis. So no one believes him, and Elvis is trapped alone, dying in a nursing home. Now, the only person who does believe him is Ossie Davis's character, who plays someone who believes he's John F. Kennedy, even though he's a black man. What he believes is that after the assassination, Washington took his brain, and it's being kept alive in Washington with batteries, and that inside his head he has a bag of sand, and they dyed him this color so that no one would know that he's really the former president. So this guy, the story's kind of a weird story. Maybe he's really not nuts, but the only one that believes Bruce Campbell's story is someone who thinks he's JFK. So not much luck for him. However, he'll need a friend when weird stuff starts happening in this nursing home. You see, on top of all that stuff, this is actually a mummy movie. A mummy gets lost in the river near this retirement community and comes out and starts eating the souls of the people who are near death. Now, he doesn't get much energy from them because they're near death and there's not much left, but no one suspects him. No one notices when people who are about to die anyway. And this mummy, which they start to call Bubba Ho-Tep, even though that's not really the mummy's actual name, is a really cool character. He's apparently found clothes from nearby places, and he's got a really cool big cowboy hat with a feather on it, which unfortunately isn't on this version of the cover. I like the cover where there's a silhouette and you see the mummy with the hat on. But a really cool cowboy mummy, and there's 2 times where it translates his sentences for you. It's not saying it does all the time, but you see him being rough and angry, and you're like, this is a cool, different take on the mummy, which is a classic monster. You've seen Universal, Hammer mummies, the modern Universal mummy with Brendan Fraser. It's all played relatively similarly. This is one of the most unique mummies out there in a very unique movie. It's Elvis Presley and JFK versus a mummy. And then that brings us to the weird thing about this movie is somehow you buy it. It's such a weird, surreal concept, but somehow, due to the way the movie plays it, like if this had been adapted in any other way, a lot of people would have played this as a straight comedy. But there's some serious about this, and you buy it. It's weird that you can buy this concept, but you do. And now, that being said, there is humor in this movie. You have Bruce Campbell, after all, and Bruce Campbell, he's created a character for Elvis, and it does have, Bruce Campbell reading lines the only way Bruce Campbell is, but he's not just doing Ash again, which I really do appreciate. He's not doing Ash, he's not doing his Burn Notice character. He's created this character for Elvis, and it's really cool to see this contemplative Elvis. A lot of the movie, you actually hear Elvis's inner dialogue in his head. He narrates it, and to get into his head and to see Elvis contemplating things and wondering about them and wondering about life, it's really cool, and it's a great way to get in some nice little moments of introspectiveness into this film. But that being said, it can do serious and funny at the same time. You do get some cool over-the-top moments like Bruce Campbell fighting a scarab beetle, and it also can do low-energy, calm, and introspective, and at the same time also balance it out with the film's zanier moments. And you really have to appreciate it, and really only Coscarelli could do this. I said earlier, this is Don Coscarelli, who also did Phantasm, and I think you can really look at this movie as a companion piece with Phantasm. In Phantasm, that's a younger Coscarelli looking at death as a young man, where it's strange and alien, and quite literally alien, and you go into the mortician's place, the funeral home, and you're going into this weird world. Here, death is real from Earth, but also you live in the haunted location now. You're in the nursing home, that's the haunted location, and you live there. And you can really see this as two different perspectives, younger Coscarelli looking at death versus an older Coscarelli looking at death, and a young boy versus an old man, Elvis. It's like the same thing from two different perspectives. In fact, both movies open with the dictionary definition of the titles, and both movies, if you look at the do not copyright violate this movie, it says so-and-so amount of fines and the wrath of the tall man in the first one, and then in this it's the wrath of Bubba Ho-Tep. So there are definite parallels between these two in the beginning and the end there. And I definitely recommend, if you're Phantasm fans, if you're Don Coscarelli fans, and of course if you're Bruce Campbell fans, you gotta check this out. It's a really underrated movie, and it's pulling off this wacky, insane script and somehow making you believe it. I really like this movie. I actually, before I did this review, I watched it a second time, and sometimes when you go back and watch a movie for a second time, it doesn't hold up as well as you remember, and you're like, okay, I remember it being a little better, but it's still good. But this movie, I watched it for a second time, and I appreciated it just as much as I did the first time, and I'll be happy to watch it again later. Actually, one of these days, I need to do a back-to-back Phantasm and then this one. But that being said, I like this movie. I'm definitely going to check out and review more Don Coscarelli movies in the future, so keep an eye out for that on this channel. More Bruce Campbell movies, more Mummy movies. I've reviewed a few of them. Anyway, that being said, to all you who have liked and subscribed, you are really helping out this channel, so I want to give you a big thank you, and I'll see you again really soon. Have a good day, and check out Bubba Ho-Tep.